What's a cool fact about the human body that a lot of people don't know? If you drink nothing but purple Powerade for 3 days straight, your poop will turn neon green. The bone that supports your eyeball, called the orbital floor, is paper thin and has a large empty cavity called the maxillary sinus on the opposite side. When you get hit hard in the eyeball, instead of your eyeball itself rupturing, the bone underneath your eye breaks, which is called an orbital floor fracture. This releases the pressure from the impact and saves your eyeball. If you crush a beach ball against a concrete wall, you can pop it. But if you try crush it against a styrofoam wall, the wall breaks, but the beach ball is fine. An amazing evolutionary adaptation to protect your eyesight. Some people are born with extra ribs called cervical ribs, which grow from the C7 vertebrae in the neck. It's a weird and rare mutation that a lot of people don't even know they have. Although it is also a cause of thoracic outlet syndrome, which is where pressure is applied to the nerves, veins, and arteries running into the arms. It can be really painful and in some rare cases can cause gangrene in the arms. If left untreated, it can kill you if you're really unlucky. Really late, but I discovered this thing during my thesis. We were researching patients with neurological problems and people who had brain injuries, and we found a woman in her 30s that had had part of her brain removed. More specifically, the area that activates when you move your body. Well, she was moving and talking with just some minor missteps, and theoretically it was not possible. She was paralyzed in the first 3 months after the operation. She was caught in a car accident, if I remember correctly. We were trying out a new scanner for the brain, and we found out that an area of the brain that wasn't supposed to work and control the movement was doing just that. The occipital area, usually controls the vision, was now working as a motor control area. The brain is really amazing. You have enough potassium in your body to create a very small bomb. So I bought all this C4 for nothing. Some people will cough. If they put something in one ear, a very small percentage will cough. If something is in either ear, it is called Arnold's ear cough reflex. I always cough when I Q-tip out my ears. I thought that happened for everyone. When I swab it out, I can feel the tickle way deep in my throat. You know the smell of rain or disturbed soil? It's a compound produced by bacteria called geosmin, and the human nose is extremely sensitive to it. We can smell it at as low a concentration as 5 parts per trillion. Edit. Sorry for my confusing wording. The compound is called geosmin, not the bacteria. We can smell rain better than sharks can smell blood. I actually just learned about this. There is a podcast from Stuff You Should Know that goes over all this info. The smell of rain. A woman was found without a cerebellum, the part of the brain that controls motor abilities of the body. She is alive and has no real side effects from this condition that we know of. Edit. Okay, to clarify, her cerebellum was not removed, nor did I do it. She was born without one, and the medical professionals, again, not me, found out after she complained about a headache which led to an MRI. It is worth noting that the cerebellum doesn't control voluntary movement. That is the motor cortex. The cerebellum's main role is basically to try to match intention from the motor cortex to the action that is actually being performed by the muscles. Still interesting, though. There is a muscle called palmaris longus in the forearm missing in about 10% of the population. You can easy test if you have it by putting your pinky and thumb together while holding your palm facing up and flex the hand upwards. If one tendon is standing out more than the others, that's palmaris longus. Archaeologist here. You can give birth after you've died. Occasionally we will come across a really confronting burial where the skeleton of an unborn child is halfway through its mother's pelvis. Generally what happens is the woman has died before giving birth, and after burial a buildup of gases from decomposition forces the baby out. We refer to this as coffin birth. Natural redheads require increased doses of anesthesia due to some connection with the mutated melanocortin-1 receptor. I'm a natural redhead myself and developed a fear of dentists because I'd always feel what they were doing. Eventually I had an issue that couldn't be ignored and had to find a new dentist. At my first visit he took one look at me and said, "You're a real redhead, huh?" Yup. Hygienist, get me 4x the Novocaine. I knew I'd found my man, and he's been treating me ever since. Also shed my fears, since dental work is much less unpleasant when you're actually numb before they start. The optimal human circadian rhythm is actually closer to 25 hours than 24. In experiments depriving people of sunlight and other triggers that maintain your circadian rhythm. The war that's constantly happening inside of you. Everyone knows about your immune system, but the sheer complexity of it is amazing. Like, your body has neutrophils, which are like the generic white blood cell that constantly goes around your blood vessels seeking out foreign objects. But did you know there are cells called macrophages, which are like way better neutrophils in the fact that neutrophils mostly swallow bacteria to kill them. Macrophages do this to accept they can swallow close to 100. You have stuff like dendritic cells whose main goal is to be an early warning system. They swallow an invader, then carry a piece of it back to T cells to activate them. Once they are activated, T cells swarm that specific invader and kill anything that has that antigen. I didn't even aim close to all of the cells that are doing constant battle inside of you 24/7, 365 days a year. So next time you have the flu or an infection, think of the little guys inside you who gladly fight the good fight. Scientific name for your thumb is Palix and your big toe is Hallux. Not just yours, everybody's. Not mine. Mine is named Mr. Thumbness. For a moment I felt unique. A small percentage of people are super sleepers and are fully recharged after 2 to 4 hours of sleep each night. They get to burn the candle at both ends. Edit, adding source, since this seems to be a topic of interest. Source, I know a guy like that. Goes to bed at like 1 AM and wakes up at 5 AM. No alarm. Just wakes up, totally refreshed. F that guy. You mostly breathe out of one nostril at a time, and the dominant nostril switches every hour or so. This explains how I can only have one blocked nostril, but still feel like I'm suffocating. I immune privilege. Your immune system doesn't know your eyes exist. There's a chance that, if you get an eye injury or an infection near your eyes, the immune system will think your eyes are a foreign body and you'll go blind. Why though? Wouldn't the immune system know that our eyes are a part of our body? That's so weird. Saying it knows or doesn't know is a bit of over-anthropomorphication. The immune system does not have access to the eye as it's too harsh and our eyes are too delicate. They're also self-cleaning, so they can handle the normal daily wear and tear. Babies are born without kneecaps. They develop around 2 years. Edit, they have a cartilage-like thing that protects the knees. I've been told so many times that there's still something. Thanks, gonna go punch a baby in the knee now. Your hands and feet alone account for more than half of all the bones in your body. 106/206. Gotta point out you're including the wrists and ankles in that count. Apparently some peoples in Asia have a bunch of DNA from Denisovians, another hominid people coexisted and interbred with. Any special traits they've got from that? And which Asians have the most of this? There is a C-show video about it on YouTube. From what I recall, Indonesians have the biggest percentage of their DNA. They also said Tibetians' ability to have more hemoglobin comes from Denisovians. Cutting the corpus callosum connects two brain hemispheres can produce some freaky results, such as your hand doing shit that your conscious mind isn't aware of, writing a sentence, or scratching an itch without knowing. For instance, I saw a program back in the dark ages when I was a kid. It was all about the brain. One of the things they talked about was that procedure. They had a guy they were testing. One hand did better with creative things, the other did better with logic. At one point they were trying to get him to do something with the hand that didn't have an easier time with it. I think it was something like stacking blocks. He wasn't supposed to use the hand that could do it better, but as if the hand had a mind of its own, it kept interjection itself. And at one point literally grabbed the hand having a problem and moved it out of the way in obvious frustration. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. Only 7? Casuals, my body can make at least 15. Your heart rate increases about a minute before partaking in exercise. It is known as the anticipatory rise and happens involuntarily. Edit, my very first gold. Thank you. This is absolutely fascinating because I've learned about something called anticipated compensatory conditioned response. And that's quite literally the opposite of that. It's so cool seeing how your body can automatically perform two opposite counteractions in their appropriate times. Most of our body never gets more than 20 years old. Our cells divide in a process called mitosis and then die, with the exception of your nervous system. The oldest organ in your body is the lungs. In terms of age of your cells, your skin never gets more than a few weeks old. Your mouth never gets more than a few days old. Essentially, the reason we age is not because the cells are old, but they lose their ability to perform functions as effectively as they go through the mostly genetically determined aging process. Your cells are only designed to divide a set number of times due to structures called telomeres. It's a little more complicated than this, but I'm not writing a textbook, nor am I qualified to do so. Oh man, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.